India is one of the countries in which urban centers and urbanization flourished as early as 3000 BC. The urban centers of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa may be cited as examples of prehistoric urbanization in India. During the ancient and medieval periods of Indian history, numerous towns and cities developed mainly because of socio-economic, geopolitical and cultural reasons. The arrival of English people and their occupancy of power through the East India Company led to the development of many cities and towns. Though some of the towns could develop as industrial centers during the British period, they established trading centers to export the raw materials from India and to sell their finished products in the huge market of the subcontinent. The British also established many cantonments at the strategic points to administer this country. The growth and development of Ambala, Agra, Jhansi, Shimla, Mussoorie, Pathankot, Udhampur, Meerut, Roorkee, Mahau and Jalandhar are some of such examples. On completion of this module, you would be able to understand causes and consequences of urbanization and also understand metropolitan areas. Although the process of urbanization recorded a steady growth after 1921, it got a quantum jump after independence, that is 1947. During the last 50 years, not only the old areas, cities and towns had expanded in terms of size of population, density and area, several hundred new towns have emerged and developed. The cities of Chandigarh, Panchkula, Pepanagar, Yamunanagar, Itanagar, Williamnagar, Pulwama, Sonmarg, Badgam, Batala, Nangal, Modinagar, Dadri, Noida, etc. are some of the examples of newly developed towns and cities. The urban population of India as per 2011 census far exceeded the total population of the countries of the world excepting China, Russia, USA and Indonesia. Similarly, there were only 3 countries in the world, namely China, USA, which had a comparable size of urban population with that of India. The total urban population in the country as per census of 2011 is more than 377 million, constituting about 31.16% of the total population. Class 1 urban agglomeration or towns. The urban agglomerations or towns are grouped on the basis of their population in census. The urban agglomeration or towns which have at least 1 lakh population are categorized as class 1 town. At the census of 2011, there are about 468 such urban agglomeration or towns. The corresponding number in the census of 2001 was 394 with a population of 264.9 million persons, constituting 70% of the total urban population live in these class 1 urban agglomerations or towns. There has been a steady growth in the size and proportion of the urban population as well as the number of urban centers in India since independence. The process of urbanization in India since the beginning of this century also reveals a steady increase in the size of urban population. The number of urban centers and the level of urbanization and a rapid rise since 1951. From 1951 to 2011, India's urban population has more than tripled from 62.4 million to 377 million. The number of urban centers, that is towns and urban agglomerations, increased from 2,843 in 1951 to 7,935 in 2011, an increase of 42.6%. Similarly, the proportion of the population living in urban areas, that is the level of urbanization, increased from 17.3% in 1951 to 31.16% in 2011. The annual growth rate of the urban population during 2001 to 2011 was 2.76%, slightly more than that of the previous decade of 1991-2002 3.12%. Urbanization in India is mainly due to liberalization of its economy after the 1990s, which gave rise to the development of the private sector. Presently, although urbanization is taking place at a faster rate in India, only 1/3 of its population lives in urban areas. In India, out of the total population of 1210.2 million as on 1st March 2011, about 377.1 million are in urban areas. The net addition of population in urban areas over the last decade is 91.0 million. The percentage of urban population to the total population of the country stands at 31.16%. The causes of urbanization are many. However, a few important reasons of urbanization are narrated below. 1. Agriculture development. Development of agriculture due to farm mechanization has resulted in fewer demands for labor force in the agriculture sector. These surplus labor usually migrate to urban sector for employment and livelihood. The laborers deployed in the construction and other low menial work and self-employed activities are largely migrants from rural areas. It is also seen that agriculture development in Punjab has resulted in migration of rural Punjab population not only to the cities of different states of India, but also to the cities of other countries of the world. Coming to industrialization, generally it is observed that industrialization takes place in and around the cities. Industrialization helps people add value to their product, and this in turn helps more and more people to earn livelihood and settle down in the outskirts of the cities. The industrial workforces in the cities are mostly migrants from the rural areas. Coming to third one, market forces. The proliferation of consumer goods industries through the play of market forces leads to an increase in the importance of the market oriented locations. Towns provide large ready-made markets for consumer goods and thus attract new industries for the manufacturing of these goods. These new industries and the supply of labor in turn increases the size of the potential market. A snowball effect is set in motion and urban growth becomes self-sustaining. Coming to fourth one, growth services center. With the growth of cities, the living standards of the city dwellers rises, and along with these, trading increases, and the tertiary sector services by their very nature tend to be centralized in towns, providing retailing, entertainment, catering, banking, insurance and administration. As more and more services are required, it attracts more and more people, and gradually the urban areas grow. Fifth one, emergence of towns as socio-cultural centers. Nowadays, towns have become the epicenter of most of the socio-cultural activities of the nation state. They have emerged more as a center of entertainment. Towns with facilities such as cinemas, theatres, art galleries, museum, parks, etc. act as a magnets to the surrounding populations. Many people simply enjoy being near the center of urban life. Because of the concentration of many socio-cultural activities, urban areas have become zones of immense opportunities. People concentrate more and more in urban areas as success in urban areas is more attainable. The glamour of staying in urban areas becomes much more compared to rural areas. The influx of people makes the urban areas overcrowded. Coming to the sixth one, improvement in transport and communication. Development of nation state focuses on improvement in infrastructure facilities and greater connectivity between rural and urban areas. More roads are constructed, which improves the connectivity between rural and urban areas. As a result of improved communication and transport facilities, the migration of population from rural areas to urban areas becomes faster and easier. As the job opportunities available are manifold compared to rural areas, more and more people prefer to migrate to urban areas, leading to rise in the urban population. The development of rail communication in backward areas also promoted migration of population from these areas to the towns, cities and metropolis. Coming to the seventh one, natural increase of population. This is one of the most important factors for the current urbanization in the world. Although the upper and middle class population of urban areas have low fertility, leading to natural increase of population in urban areas. In fact, the growth and natural increase of population in urban areas are lower compared to the rural areas, but it cannot be overemphasized as one of the factors of increase in population in urban areas. All these factors are responsible for urbanization. Rapid rise in urban population in India is leading to many problems like increasing slums, decrease in standard of living in urban areas, also causing environmental damage. The industrial revolution of the 18th century caused countries like the United States and the United Kingdom to become superpowers, but conditions elsewhere are worsening. India's urban growth rate is 2.07%, seemingly insignificant compared to Rwanda in Africa with 7.6%. This has greatly increased housing issues with overcrowded cities. Many people are forced to live in unsafe conditions such as illegal buildings. Water lines, roads and electricity are lacking in quality, resulting in a decline in living standards. It is also contributing to the issues presented by pollution. Urbanization also results in a disparity in the market owing to the large demands of the growing population and the primary sector struggling to cope. Cities offer solution in terms of high-rise buildings which are affordable housings, metro, affordable transport, affordable schooling, established local clinics, water ATMs and many new initiatives. However, the problems include, as per the National Institution for Transforming India, that is NITI Aayog, has released a report Composite Water Management Index in June 2018 and stated that 21 cities including Delhi, Mumbai and Chennai in India would run out of groundwater by 2020. The latest database of number lists 3 Indian cities among the top 10 cities of the world for having worst traffic conditions. These cities include Mumbai, Pune and Kolkata, apart from Delhi, which we are experiencing in the current phase. Population growth and rapid urbanization are combining to create huge challenges for Indian cities. Meeting demand for urban services in these cities will require about $1.1 trillion in capital investment over the next 20 years. Without the right design and planning, this massive urban growth could exacerbate existing problems of congestion, pollution and traffic safety. Delhi is now considered the most polluted city in the world. According to the Brookings Institution, while at least 2.5 million premature deaths are blamed on poor air quality across the country as a whole. The Economic Survey Report of India as per the 2017-18 estimated that percentage of agriculture workers of total workforce could drop to 25.7% by 2050 from 58.2% as in 2001. Now, what is the cause of this decline? People migrating to cities and adding to the unemployment in cities. It is interesting to know that because of migration from rural pockets to urban, that is cities, unemployment in cities is increasing and in rural pockets it is decreasing. According to the census of 2011, there were 53 metropolitan urban agglomeration or cities in the country with a population of 1 million. In 1901, there was only 1 million city, namely Calcutta, now Kolkata. The number of million cities remained 2, that is Calcutta and Bombay, from 1911 to 1941. In 1951, their number increased to 5. In 1961, it rose to 7. In 1971, it has again increased to 9. In 1981, it was about 12 million cities, and in 1991, there were 23 cities having more than 1 million of population each. And in 2001, there were 35, while it has increased to 53 in the year 2011. Because of the varying degree of growth, the population ranks of these 53 metropolitan cities have been changing from one census to another. For example, Kolkata, which occupied the first position since 1901, has been relegated to the second position in 2001, whereas Greater Mumbai, which occupied the second position since 1901, has moved to the first position in 2001 and maintained in 2011 as well. Among all the states and union territories, the National Capital Territory of Delhi and the Union Territory of Chandigarh are most urbanized with 97.5% and 97.25% urban population respectively, followed by Daman and Diu with 75.2% and Pondicherry with 68.3%. Among the state, Goa is now the most urbanized state with 62.2% urban population, a significant increase since 2001. Urban population of Goa was 49.8%. The proportion of urban population continues to be the lowest in Himachal Pradesh with just 10%, followed by Bihar with 11.3%, Assam 14.1% and Orissa with 16.7%. In terms of absolute number of persons living in urban areas, Maharashtra continues to lead with 50.8 million persons, which comprises about 13.5% of the total urban population of the country. Uttar Pradesh accounts for about 44.4 million, followed by Tamil Nadu at 34.9 million. Among the million plus urban agglomerations or cities, there are 3 very large urban agglomerations with more than 10 million persons in the country, known as megacities. These are Greater Mumbai urban agglomeration with 18.4 million, Delhi urban agglomeration with 16.3 million and Kolkata urban agglomeration with 14.1 million. The largest urban agglomeration in the country is Greater Mumbai urban agglomeration, followed by Delhi and Kolkata, which held the second rank in 2001, has been replaced by Delhi urban agglomeration. The growth in population in the megacities has slowed down considerably during the last decade. Greater Mumbai urban agglomeration, which has witnessed 30.47% growth in the population during 1991-2001, has recorded 12.05% during 2001 to 2011. Similarly, Delhi urban agglomeration, from 52.24% to 26.69% in 2001 and 11, and Kolkata urban agglomeration from 19.6 to 6.6% during 2001 to 2010, and thereby slowed down considerably. The process and trends of urbanization in India have been discussed. On the basis of this, the salient features of the Indian urbanization. The history of urbanization in India is quite old, as towns and urban places flourished in the Indus Valley around 2500 BC. Urbanization in India during the ancient and medieval periods was associated with the seats of administrations, capitals and trading centers. After the arrival of the Europeans in India, urbanization rate has accelerated mainly because of the location and establishment of modern factories and industries. Urbanization in India during the present century was associated with the particular theme in each decade. During 1901 to 1911, famine and plague. During 1911 to 1921, influenza epidemic. During 1921 to 31, agricultural depression. During 1931 to 1941, wars. 1941 to 1951, partition of the subcontinent. 1951 to 61, planned development, and whereas 1961 to 71, emergence of new urban centers in backward areas and concentrated urban development near the big cities. During 1981 to 91, relatively much faster growth of the mega and class 1 cities, and during 91 to 2001, faster increase in the number of million plus cities, which went up to 35 in 2001, while it increased to 53 in 2011. The Indian urbanization is of subsistence nature. It implies that the migrants from rural areas are attracted to the urban centers not for urban environment, but for employment. They may be eating worse food or may be living in worse houses, but they stick to the cities for jobs. This affects badly the quality of life in the urban places, especially in the class 1 and metropolitan cities. The Indian urbanization has polymetropolitan apex, in which the million cities dominate the entire urban scheme, accounting for 1/3 of India's total urban population. There are as many as 53 metropolitan cities. The Indian urban system is not integrated both functionally and spatially, as a consequence of which there are breaks and imbalances in urban hierarchy as well as in the rural urban profile. The apex of the urban system in India is lopsided. The urban base in rural areas is substandard. Intermediary link through the market towns is weak. Million cities, including 3 mega cities, that is Mumbai, Calcutta and Delhi. The Indian towns are growing more on the basis of tertiary rather than the secondary sector. However, the growth of district headquarters in the recent decades has built up an infrastructure of large scale urbanization based on higher degree of industrialization. Southern India is more urbanized than that of the northern and eastern India. This is because of the historical, socio-cultural and resource factors. The process of urbanization has gained momentum and more people are migrating from the rural to the urban areas, but the quality of life in most of the urban places, especially in the metropolitan and mega cities, is declining. India is urbanizing. This transition, which will see India's urban population reach a figure close to 600 million by the year 2031, is not simply a shift of demographics. It places cities and towns at the center of India's development trajectory. In the coming decades, the urban sector will play a critical role in the structural transformation of the Indian economy and in sustaining the high rates of economic growth, ensuring high quality public services for all in the cities and towns of India is an end in itself, but it will also facilitate the full realization of India's economic potential.